So your YouTube channel, talk to me about it. The stories untold. How did we get here? How did you get started?
So late 2020, I left TechZim after 3 years. I had learned a lot. I'd been exposed to a lot, but I still felt that information gap still existed. So because I'd left, and naturally, because I built up contacts during my time there, I figured, why not start from there? But this time with a view to ownership, owning a bit more, owning a bigger piece of the pie. So the reason why this became an important thing for me is because at TechZim, as fantastic a place as it was, we were more limited in terms of tech and business. So I had a inclination towards speaking to more creative people, athletes, stuff like that. That wasn't really in our editorial agenda, for lack of a better term. So I felt, why not try it? Why not make episodes and start distributing them on my own? That's really how we came to start.
So when we look at your journey, we are seeing you taking that leap of faith to trying media is an option, right? Yeah. So if we are speaking to a young person who's listening to the program, it's about doing. You have to take that step and do, right? Because if you don't, and you're afraid to say, oh, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not any of these things, and I'm not fitting in the box, then you miss out on what could be your true purpose, right? Yeah. And then the next layer is that what I'm understanding and learning is that when you have gone into a space, what is it that you can learn very quickly, if that is part of your path, that I can run with, and then take the next leap of faith to starting something completely new.
Yeah, I think that was the most valuable thing, and the thing I always repeat any chance I'm given about TechZim is that the way the company is structured meant that I got an opportunity not only to learn about journalism and distribution and models, but to learn about the business side, how it works, where the money comes from. And I think that was a very valuable experience that I might not have been able to get if I was in another media house. It's an unfair assumption to make, but it is an assumption on my part. So the experience I got was really holistic, for lack of a better term. It was more than just me being in media, but also learning about how a business works. And now that's, I think, what we're trying to replicate, but with our core focus being video instead of text as they do.
Awesome. And I'm just going to pick another point as well. You mentioned an amazing piece, right? Because a lot of people overlook the business side of it. You may be a creative and an innovator, but if you don't have the business sense of how you're going to make business work, it will be just an expensive hobby, right? That's how I look at it. So just talk to me back again, because we spoke about it earlier on, that when you joined TechZim was a startup. Yeah. And I think that was another important ingredient, because at the level where you were operating, you were probably wearing a lot of hats. Do you want to just unpack a little bit of that so the next person can learn more on that?
Yeah, I think in regards to learning a lot of things, during my time, my 3 years there, I was an editor, so essentially commissioning what gets written, writing, and then also going through some guest posts and stuff like that. Also worked on audio podcasts during my time. Also worked on, I think, social media was another thing that we touched on. And then beyond the direct output in terms of content, like I said, I got exposed to seeing so many things, because during my time there, we transitioned from relying on an advertising model, as most, I say we, TechZim transitioned from relying on an advertising model as most media companies do, and we went to e-commerce.
Right.
So that showed me many things in terms of, I think the biggest takeaway for me was the creativity the CEO showed in terms of like finding markets that you normally wouldn't associate with a media company.
Absolutely.
So that was a huge thing, because we got to see the business from a top-down perspective, if that makes sense.
Wow.
You're one piece in the machine, but you get to experience so many different things. Even, I think, customer service in terms of emails, even though I wasn't really great at that, but interfaced with that, and so that gives you exposure in so many different ways. And then now when you have the story untold and you're a one-man band for now, you understand, you have a starting point that you can reference. Some of those same structures, some of those same lessons you took from there, you take it and you move with that.
And now you're okay wearing all the hats, right? The CEO, the runner boy, the everything, the cut, the edited.
It's a complex question. I wouldn't necessarily say I am okay with it, but that is the stage of the journey that we are at. And that's also fine.
Yeah, and I think that I always say this to entrepreneurs and startups to say, don't wait till you've got all your your ducks in a row, because that doesn't really happen, right? That day doesn't come. So if it means that you have to wear 10 hats, but the key is get started and get going. What resources do I have? What do I have? And what skill knowledge do I have? And as long as I've got those things, you can run with it, right?
I genuinely agree with that and believe, and I think structures and processes makes things easier. So one of the things that we're doing when we distribute content, our social media, is we have a template where I follow a template for Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and what that does is it allows you to easily copy and paste for different platforms and adapt to different platforms. Whereas if I wasn't following certain structures and processes like that, it would be harder, because you'd be thinking, okay, now I've done this, what do I have to do next? And so stuff like checklist, and there's a lot to learn. I'm also still learning. It's just been a year and a half essentially.
Awesome. Yeah. So learning along the journey is part of the process.
Yeah. Building the plane whilst you crash or something like that. I don't remember the saying.
That's good. Amazing.